Well, here we are. And I thought it was going to happen tomorrow, but as soon as the internet came back on, I thought, hey, let's go ahead and do this. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell everybody on Facebook that we are good to go live right now. Oops, no, wait. Okay. So, everybody, welcome. This is episode 17. Here we go. Okay. Hey, everybody, guess what? The internet came back. So we're going to go ahead and do this. There's no reason in waiting. We have an amazing episode today. This is episode 17 of the Conservation Conversation. As everybody here knows, I'm your host, Eric Crown, and we are going to talk today about illegal logging. Now, there is a link here on my Facebook. I'm putting this on so everybody knows that we're doing this live, but if you really want to watch the show, then please go to my YouTube link that is on the Facebook page here. That is where you can go ahead and type in your comments, join our conversation. We have an active chat. So, hey, Jason, good to see you, man. Really great guy that I became really good friends with up in Seattle when I was working on some conservation stuff back in the day there. And so let's say Coralie and Molly. Hey, Molly. And Vivian. Hey, Vivian. How's everything over in New Zealand? I think you guys actually, Australia I know has a lot of deforestation issues. Anyway, what we're going to talk about today, everybody, is illegal logging. So this is what we got here. Handsome ball, man. That's it. I got to keep it going. So, and Chelsea, hey, thanks for joining us today. So anyway, I'm really excited, guys. I thought maybe we weren't going to be able to do this episode today. Now, if you're watching on Facebook, please click on my link, go over to YouTube. You're going to watch the actual show over there. And hey, Barbara. I see Barbara's on YouTube with us. Always great to see you on there, Barbara. Another amazing animal rights activist. And, you know, again, when we come to illegal logging, we're talking about companies stealing these forests, destroying biodiversity, and taking people's quality of life as well. So it affects the environment, it affects the animals, and it affects everybody. So New Zealand is fresh. See, that could be very dangerous for New Zealand. Yeah, you know, we don't. It's hopefully they'll be able to stop any more of this logging. You know, it's crazy, and it's a worldwide issue. We are in Romania live tonight. I'm very excited. I've never been to Romania before. If you're like me and you're an average American, you probably aren't even 100% sure where Romania is, and that is a very bad. It's a bad, it's a bad testament to our full education system there. But Romania, just as a quick background, we are going to go to. Oh, hey, Coralie's on YouTube with me now too. Perfect. So we've got a great show ahead. We've been able to talk to the Greenpeace here. We've been able to check out some different aspects of what's happening with the illegal logging. Now, you know, it's a very, it's almost kind of a standard story for logging, where countries open up their natural resources for bids by major multinational companies. This is what's happened in the Amazon, and a lot of us are familiar with that. It's also is what's happening here in Romania. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. Without trees, we can't breathe. Yes, exactly. Molly's right on, and Molly really fights for clean air and clean water. And you know, the only thing we really do have is our environment. You know, because everything else they've kind of taken from us. So we do have to fight for what we have left. And it's great to see so many people on here. Hey, Norm, I used to work with Norm back in the day. We were on Scrubs. And yeah, it was always a good guy there. And Norm, I know you do a lot of environmental stuff as well, and you're very conscious also. Hey, Dan, thanks for joining. So welcome to episode 17. I can't believe it's episode 17. It's the Conservation Conversation. One of my favorite times of the week, where we get to talk about what's really happening around the world and take a look at it, because in our modern world, everything is local. No matter how you're viewing it internationally, everything is local. So we're going to go ahead and start the show and jump right in. I'll be right back. And again, hop over to YouTube and you'll be able to see all the videos. All right, and we're back. If you're watching on Facebook and you thought maybe I zoned out for a second, I didn't. I'm running the show on YouTube, and we have video and a bunch of other specials over there. So if you can, everybody, please hop over to the YouTube link. You're going to see a lot more. You're going to learn a lot more. And if for any reason you can't and you're on Facebook, join us. I still can see what we're all writing. You're all part of the show. We're all part of one conversation. It's one world, and we need to all be together, talk together. So before we even jump into it, let's talk about our forests. Now there is, oh Molly, the YouTube link is on my Facebook page. It should be hopefully right here. Tell me if you don't see it on there. Let me go take a look at my Facebook page here for you guys. Yes, if you go to my main Facebook page, it'll say Internet is back, show is on here, and there's a click. It'll take you directly to my YouTube channel. So, when I was starting to research this, first of all, I've been looking for a good quote to start the show off with. And of course, the first thing that comes to mind is the Lorax, right? Because everybody knows the Lorax. Everyone loves the Lorax story. And what I did not know, though, is the Lorax was banned in a lot of places in California. The logging industry actually stopped the Lorax from being allowed to be in schools and be in libraries. So that's how touchy this topic is. It is an invisible problem. Nobody really thinks about logging, but we're going to get into the finer details. I'm going to talk about my experiences in the Amazon. We're going to talk about our experiences here in Romania, and we're going to talk about how everything comes together. So if I'm going back and forth, I'm going to bring my Facebook friends over here to my, there we go, my YouTube. Now everybody's together. So what we're going to do today, though, is I would like to start actually with a quote by Gandhi. And a lot of you know that we tend to actually have a lot of quotes by Gandhi. I mean, he was, in a lot of ways, one of the first environmentalists that really pushed things. And Gandhi said, "What we are doing to the forests of the world is but a mirror reflection of what we are doing to ourselves and one another." And if you think about that, it's exactly correct. I mean, it's amazing that he would have that foresight that long ago to know that, this is it. Because how we're treating our forests is how we're treating with everybody else. Let's see, we need to stop reproducing, Barbara says. And Barbara, you do make a valid point. There is a huge issue with overpopulation. But even before we get into all that, here's one of the things. Ikea is a bigger issue right now than overpopulation. We need to start holding accountable the companies that are actually responsible for doing all this. And we can make our changes. We can do things about overpopulation and those other aspects. And Coralie, awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you like Gandhi as well. He's incredible, on so many different aspects. The idea of approaching the world through kindness and love and compassion is really an avenue that we need to continue with moving into the future. And what we talk a lot about on this show is the revolution through routine, right? What you do on a daily basis affects the world around you, and it affects the world halfway across the world. So we have a lot of power, and we have a lot of, and Chelsea says, palm oil stop, yes. Hey, Elena, nice to be on, and good to see you on here. And as I've learned in Romania, I will say, bună seara, which means good evening, everybody. So, and again, we are here live from Romania. I've been working on some projects that I cannot fully disclose, but this is some of the information we have gained while we've been here. So we're going to go ahead and start off, and we are going to talk about logging. Hey, Heather, so good to see you on here. Heather's another awesome activist, always fighting for the environment and very much in touch with what's happening in the world around and how it's being destroyed through multinationals. And so we're going to talk today about the human toll that these multinationals take on all of us. So what I wanted to start with is start by explaining that the logging industry is massive. Okay, we kind of talked about it briefly, but as of 2019, it employs a lot of people and a lot of businesses, and it's worth $16 billion. And not only that, they're expecting it to grow by 0.04% over the next 10 years. So it's expected to be a growth industry. So that's even more problematic. Now that we're going to start to think about what's happening, remember that they're predicting that it's going to happen a bunch more. And this is not the kind of thing we want to be involved in. Hey, Steve, thanks for joining tonight, man. Good to see Steve. Steve's an old friend of mine as well. And, it's really great to see so many different kinds of people here in the conversation because this does affect all of us. It affects all of us tremendously. So what I want to start talking about first is my experience in the Amazon. And then we're going to go into Romania, and then we're going to go to Indonesia. So we're going to travel the world, and we're going to see how forests are being treated and what's happening. Now, the Amazon is very familiar. Everybody knows about the Amazon because it's been on fire, and it's been sort of a topic that people are really, really responding to these days. So, you know, when I was down there in 2017, we found so much illegal logging. Now, the trick of it is it's hard to fully define what's illegal logging. The reason is most of the time, all forests have permits, and the permits are given to certain people, and you're going to see how internationally these permits are twisted and turned into illegal logging. So illegal logging generally is born out of legal logging. So logging itself is somewhat of an issue that we have to talk about. Now, here you can take a look at, this is on the Amazon. This is a barge, and what they do is they bring their heavy logging equipment into the middle of nowhere. When you think of the Amazon, you think of these tribes that have never had contact with Westerners. Well, you know, they might be out there a little bit, and it is happening, but for the most part, they are permitting away the forest. Now, one of the issues is, and you know, what I saw in the Amazon is, you know, for example, they will go in and they will log, and then what will happen is they're going to start to kill the animals that are right there. So we found that when the loggers go in, one of the first things they'll do is if they run into monkeys, they'll shoot them, and they'll eat them, and they'll sell the babies into the illegal pet trade. So a lot of loggers are the front line of the illegal pet trade, and they're also the front line of a lot of the animal destruction that's going on. It's not necessarily their fault, but we're going to watch what's happening with, we caught an illegal logging raft going down the river that we got to hop on. It was pretty crazy to see. Because the issue is, once they take the logs out of the forest, nobody really knows. Once it gets to the sawmill, it's over, and there's nothing there. So every country's trying to find a way to create paperwork and to create a trail. And once we get to Romania, Greenpeace is actually working on a way right now with the government to make it a little bit more solidified that way. So that's the first part is, you know, you get the logging. Well, obviously the first destruction is you're losing your trees. You're losing an important part of our biodiversity that creates a lot of animal habitat. So you're automatically destroying animal habitats right away. Secondary, you're destroying the richness of the soil, and you're destroying the land's ability to hold and maintain its design. You know, once you start to remove all your trees, then you get a bunch of rain and you're going to get landslides. And those landslides, if people live down on the bottom of mountains, those landslides are going to come down and destroy villages, destroy towns. People that live there aren't going to be able to grow food, and you're going to end up creating food insecurity. And that brings everybody into cities. You know, you look at a place like Manila in the Philippines. It is so overcrowded, but it's because illegal fishing and deforestation and monoculture crops have basically destroyed people's ability to live off the land. And, you know, here in Romania, over 50% of the people live in rural areas. So the land is an important aspect to survival, and it's been interwoven into their ability to survive over the years. So it's very, very important that we consider it goes beyond this. Now, before we get too deep into it, I want to bring into the fact that who is logging? It's multinationals. One of them we're going to talk about tonight is Ikea. But first, let's take a look at what happens when we're out deep in the forest, and these illegal loggers bring in their logs. You know, they go in, they cut down anything they want, and then they get it to the sawmill. And it's a very questionable aspect from when they cut the trees down to when they get to the sawmill, to when you know. And at that point, it's absolutely untraceable. So let's see. So what I wanted to do is first, let's just take a look here. These are in Romania after the fall of communism. The capitalism really opened up, and what happened was the forest companies, they opened up their forest for logging, legal logging, and companies are allowed to come in and bid on the logging permits. Now, the danger is they go in and they mark the trees that are considered old and no good anymore, and those are supposed to be what are logged. And then the loggers come in and they are able to buy permits to go into the land, and then they go in and they cut down the bad trees that they're supposed to, but they also cut down the other trees because nobody's watching, nobody's enforcing it, and they can always claim it's damage. Oh, my bulldozer ran into a good log and it's accidental that way. So there is an attempt to try to stem this, but it's very difficult. There's not a lot that they can do once the logging is happening. And what I want to do now is show you this next image on here. This is Ikea, and again, we're going to bring this back because Ikea is a worldwide company, and just to even take it one step further, Ikea is unfortunately one of the aspects of throwaway culture. Here we have plastics, single-use plastics. What about single-use dressers and single-use drawers and single-use tables that fall apart in a week? They're building really cost-effective furniture that's not really that good. I've had a lot of Ikea furniture, and I had no idea of the fact that they were buying permits and going in and then taking all this different illegal logging. And this is actually an ad from a company that's trying to stop Ikea. Make old-growth forests a home. Now, old-growth forests are original forests, and this is what we're losing in Romania. Romania has the largest amount of old-growth forest left in Europe. It does. And it's one of the most important spots of biodiversity over here. And it's being destroyed through legal and illegal logging. So this is something that we really need to consider. Again, they go in to grab the trees that they're supposed to, which are supposed to be old growth. The idea is that they're clearing out what we don't need. But in fact, they're taking what's good. And IKEA has actually acknowledged this, and they say they're trying to work on this. So, this is not a crazy conspiracy theory. This is an unfortunate aspect. And again, it goes back to the market driving principle of environmentalism. We have to remember that we as a whole have all the power. The companies are going to do whatever we want. If we refuse to buy IKEA because they're not proving that the woods that they're taking and the logs they're taking are fine and old dead logs and things that we can take, like Chelsea says, upcycle. It's great if we can clear the forest of some of this dead logs. Then that's actually a fantastic aspect. But unfortunately, that's not what's happening. So again, the permitting is where it comes in, and I just want to go over this one more time. IKEA goes in and says, we're going to buy this piece of land for logging, and the government takes a chunk of the money, no problem. Now, a guy goes out, and he has a stamp. It's an official stamp from the Forestry Register. And these guys go out, and they stamp the trees, and they stamp them twice. They stamp them higher up and lower down. I can't remember the exact measurement. I believe the lower stamp's by the ground, and the higher stamp's around 3 feet up. The purpose of this is that once the log is cut, there will be a stump with proof as to the fact that this was a tree you were allowed to take, and then there will be a marking on the tree itself so that the sawmill and the receivers and the distributors of these woods can actually prove that they're legal. Now, who's watching? That's a whole other aspect. That's why we need stronger incentives, both from us from the market and also demand a little bit more out of all the governments around the world, because a lot of times the people that are watching are the people that also need to make a little extra money, and there's always payoffs, and this is a worldwide issue. I've seen it firsthand everywhere, and it is definitely a problem. Chelsea, exactly, good point. Profit over quality. This is a big problem. Not to mention, just to throw it out there, IKEA, think about all the craftsmen that are now out of work because nobody's buying their stuff, because you can get a $10 dresser at IKEA. It's practical, and I understand that. A lot of us, struggle financially. So they're trying to, in a sense, do a good thing, but they are destroying everything else. So this is always, this is where the balance comes in. And, we always talk about on this show that we are, us as a whole, a sliding scale of morality. between our environment and the companies that are trying to exploit it. And what we want and what we demand can make a big change. So I just want to remind everybody as we go in and start talking about what's happening with the forest and the fact that we're losing so many trees, that we're losing biodiversity, we're losing the animals, we're losing the people's ability to live there. And then we're giving people not that great of paying jobs, and they're actually out on the front lines. And those people are the ones that are getting arrested for illegal logging, while the multinationals and the bigger companies are walking away saying, oh my gosh, we're going to have to clean this up. So it's a hot potato blame game, and we need to look past all through that. And I think, that's what's great here. I already see everybody is already has a very good idea of what's happening and doesn't really believe it. We're not believing the old story anymore, Yes, and Lola, good point. Ikea is so popular. It's really sad. The newer generation has come up with the knowledge that they know that the world is not going to be sustainable, and they're going to run out of world. They're going to run out of fish. They're going to run out of trees. They're going to run out of everything. And you see things, like Extinction Rebellion happening around the world, and you see people stepping up. You see 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds out on the front lines picketing with 90-year-olds. You don't see that kind of connection in a lot of ways. But at the same time, the sell of it all has made people forget about single-use issues. So again, there's single-use plastics and there's single-use furnitures, and a lot of people are not going to take their IKEA furniture and move it from house to house. They're going to move into a new house and buy new IKEA furniture. IKEA furniture is not meant to last. It is meant to be affordable, and it's meant to look a little clean, but it's also one of our main reasons that we have deforestation. So we come back in to it. So now, again, we talked about this, right? So IKEA buys the parcel of land. The guy goes out, he puts the stamps on and says, this is an old piece of wood. You can have it. You got it with your bid for this piece of land, no problem. Now, the guy goes in and he starts to take down the trees he's supposed to, but he also takes down the trees that he's not supposed to, and everything within that parcel is taken. And actually, they have found and discovered that more of the good trees are taken, and the old trees that they were supposed to have removed when they bid on logging that piece of land are actually left. So what you're losing is active forest and leaving behind sort of dead forest. So there's a lot of IKEA's slogan, the wonderful everyday. Yeah, they're it's really a shame. It's supposed to be clean company. I'm sure, I don't know if anybody has seen, there's a great show on Netflix, and they actually go through IKEA, and I'm not going to get into the Nazi origins of IKEA and the Nazi roots and the Nazi payments of it, but I will say this: IKEA here in Romania has funded and paid for a lot of what was the secret police back in the communist day. Now, the problem with that is that still to this day, a lot of those people, I was reading over 80% of those people from the secret police are now involved in the internal police and the forestation, the forest, services and everything else. So, you can change the names of it all, but it's always been about the bottom line. And the problem is that IKEA has always been funding companies to look the other direction. So how do we fight this? It seems like it's a, seems like we have a very big David Goliath story here. But in fact, people are fighting back, and there's individual journalists that are bringing it to light. There are people that are going out there and protesting. And what's also amazing is, and I'm about to show you guys, I went to the Greenpeace office here in Romania, and Greenpeace is doing a great job, because what they're doing is trying to work with the government to say, listen, we want to track these logs even better. And I don't want to speak too much about the program they're working on, because it is very, it's still in development. But their idea is that they can start to use electronic technology to track which trees have permission to be cut, which trees are cut, and which trees are delivered to the sawmill by using radar and a few other things. So anyway, now I'm going to play this video for you, and it's only about 3 or 4 minutes long, and it's an interview with Ciprian, and he is one of the Greenpeace guys out there really fighting to stop this illegal logging. And it's a very sensitive spot, and these activists work under kind of difficult conditions. I'm sure, as all of you know, us activists around the world are targets to all forms of government. We are all need to be very careful, and because we are all interfering with profit, so it's always problematic that way. Um, there you go, Lola. Tell your daughter, yes, and that's what's great is everybody here has a chance to change the future by the next generation. A lot of us adults we can only do so much, but the next generation can do it all, and we need them, and we count on them, and the more we can educate them and the more we can show them what's happening, the better chance we have of changing everything in the future. Hey, Larissa, good to see you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and play this interview with Greenpeace. Now, I want you to know that once I got to the Greenpeace office, they had so many sensitive documents around, and it was kind of a strategy office, and they were very generous to let me in. So I did not shoot video in there. So the video you're going to see is my train ride out into the country to try to check for some illegal logging activities and some of the other projects that I'm working on. Again, I can't really talk too much in depth about those projects, but you'll get an idea of the countryside, and you'll see a bunch of the logging as well, because nobody's hiding it. They're illegally pulling logs from legally permitted areas for logging. So remember, it's a multinational working with the government to create illegal logging under this illusion that there is legal logging and everything's okay. So it's a weird kind of circle that's happening. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and play this interview right now with Greenpeace. If you're watching on Facebook, please go onto my profile, jump over to my YouTube channel, and go check out this interview. Everybody, we'll be right back, and we're going to talk some more about this. Hey, everybody, we're still in Bucharest, Romania, and we are here today at the Greenpeace office, and we're going to go in and speak with them a little bit and learn more about what's happening with logging, illegal logging, deforestation, and some more activities. And
yeah, Eric, I think first of all, I think we should discuss about first maybe just to make it clear for everybody what's the stake here. As you mentioned, Romania holds 2/3 of the natural forest, old growth forest. So basically the forest that was untouched, in this last thousands of years by any human intervention. Well, in this part of Europe, in the east, so Romania, Ukraine as well, Bulgaria, so in this part, the industrial, let's say, age didn't come so far, right? We didn't had this moment in history in which we used all of our resources, right, in order to develop economically. So that's why you have these pockets of biodiversity that are really untouched in these remote areas in the Carpathian Mountains, right, where it was not that easy to actually get access and to log over there. With Romania also accessing the European Union, we basically opened up to the global market, which also means global demand of wood and timber products, right? So now we are in this context in which there's a lot of pressure on this wood that we have and on the trees that we have in the Carpathian Mountains. So basically this is the big threat that we have in terms of conservation in Romania. There's this huge, relevant space of biodiversity. This is for us a huge stake. This is what we aim to do. We aim to work with the citizens, and we want to pressure the authorities in order that finally they will understand that we need to offer protection for these forests. We have a couple of organizations that were working on this topic, right? And together with them, we ended up in 2015 having the first legislative package, so the first laws to actually have to offer protection for these types of forests, right? The system is not that easy in the sense that in order for a forest to get protection, it needs to be, first of all, identified, second of all, documented, and then you have this commission, right, of experts, of forestry experts that will say, yeah, this forest is untouched and we need to protect it, and we are agreeing with your submission, right? So following that process, in Romania now we have around 30,000 hectares that are under protection, under strict protection, so nobody can log over there. But it is a win, and it is a win that we need to also, think about. There are some progress that are being done, and we don't need. It's good not to forget about that. That's what I would say.
It's hard in conservation. We don't have a lot of wins, so you have to hold on to them because it makes you realize that you can always get another one. Each step is the step forward.
Yeah. What we are fighting now for is actually a bit of a different side of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this setup in which we have so much, wilderness, we also have a really weird phenomenon of illegal logging.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the latest studies, the National Forest Inventory, is saying that in Romania you have one tree that is harvested in a legal way, right? And one tree is illegal. And we have another 20 million cubic meters that are disappearing, basically vanishing from the forest without any permit, without any, being part of any intervention that it's in a management plan or something like that. Which makes the whole story as being really scary, because for these 20 millions that we don't know how they are, disappearing, it's clear that with this amount of wood, we are producing damage to the environment. It's not sustainable to have so much, logging without any planning, because the philosophy of, again, forestry is that you don't cut how much you need to sell. That's not giving you the quantity of wood that you extract from the forest, right? You cut as much as the forest is offering you. This is definitely also a damage to the environment, because when you extract so much, you have a different capacity of the soil for the water retention, right? So conversation is strictly related to the climate changes that we are facing, right? That we see that climate is on the move, climate is changing, and it's gonna go even worse, right? With a faster speed. So what do we expect? Experts are saying that in Romania we're gonna have lots of rains in the mountains in short period of times, right? So big amounts of water coming really in short amounts of time, and then drought. The fact that we have less and less forest, so less and less water retention capacity in the mountains. What does this lead to? Well, it will have two big impacts. One of it will damage. We're gonna definitely see damage in the soil that we have in the mountains. So basically, we're gonna have the forests having less capacity to grow and to develop, right? So this is gonna impact. It's gonna give a negative impact to the forests that we are having. It's gonna be a blow. The second of all is socially, because we're going to have lots of water going really fast from the mountains to the villages from beneath. We're going to have probably floods. We already see that how this is happening at the moment. And basically, if you go there to the next level, we're going to have less water for agricultural purposes.
Sure.
Eastern Europe is also a place where, again, corruption at the local level, it's still something that is happening. So where you cannot trust that much, the society, in that sense, the people that are, working in the system, that just use technology for that. We are talking here about using satellite imagery. We are talking about processing those images and adding few layers of other, data that we have in order to understand where we have a logging that is being illegally done or legally done, right? So systems in order to generate automatically generate alerts to the forestry guards and to the other authorities to go and check the situation on the ground. This is, again, we're not inventing any wheel here, but the good thing is that if we make it work here, we might have also a solution for the Amazon, deforestation or other types of deforestations in other countries where you have similar issues, but maybe with even bigger, surfaces that are logged.
So, very interesting. As I came out of the Greenpeace office, there was a guy watching me, and he just walked down the street for no reason. And you're going to see him. He's actually walking the opposite direction right now from me. So we are going to go try to find some kind of a Wi-Fi signal here. And look right there. So he was watching me, and then he pretended to walk away, walk down the street, and then just walked back for no particular reason. So very interesting, because I have a feeling that conservation stuff is still seen in somewhat of a awkward phase. So, still got to be careful. Is always self-funded. There's a lot of groups that try to ask for your money to go and try to change things. I'm self-funded. I do whatever it takes to get myself somewhere to find out what's happening. And for those of you that are joining, or you don't know me that well, or you're just coming in, I want everybody to know, people might wonder, what's this guy's agenda? Well, my agenda is simply this. I have cancer that is incurable, and now I just discovered and found out it's inoperable. And it comes from environmental pollution. And children are getting it from environmental pollution. And there's so much environmental pollution out here that we need to really expose it and bring it to light. And if everybody can pay attention to what's happening, we can make changes over time and possibly stop future generations from having to go through this. So I'm on a mission to take a camera into everywhere that I possibly can and expose everything that I possibly can about what's happening out there that is getting us sick. And logging is one of those issues. Okay, so one of these issues, and this is, again, it comes back to, once you pull these trees out, you've destroyed the soil content. They're useless. These are useless. Cyprian talked about in the interview, you're going to get landslides, and the landslides are going to destroy villages and homes and people's lives, and the people aren't going to be able to farm anymore. And again, here in Romania, over 50% of the people live in rural areas, and they live off the land, and it's critical that they have the land to live off of. So as soon as they start to take all these forests, whether they're permitted or not, they are not only destroying the animal population, they're destroying the soil, the content of the soil, the nutrients in the soil, but they're also, for example, there's a big problem here with bears. I went to Transylvania recently, and everybody always jokes about Dracula being the big thing, but people in Transylvania are not afraid of Dracula attacking them. They are afraid of being attacked by bears, because bears have lost their ways to live, and their bears, better me on it right now. Chelsea, yes. So yeah, the RSO. Okay, yeah. Hey, Kimberly, thanks for tuning in. So the bears now, they're out of food, so they're roaming through. Now you're going to have, it's this ripple effect, right? You throw the stone in the pond, and then the ripples come out. So now you have an excessive amount of bears that are hungry and that are going into villages looking for food because we've destroyed their natural forest. And when I talk about the deforestation here in Romania, I'm talking about clear cutting. Clear cutting is just taking it all. There's nothing responsible about clear cut logging, whether it's legal or not. There's just nothing responsible about this. So now you have a situation where the bears are going into villages, people are getting injured, people are being killed, and now they want to open up hunting and open up permitted canned hunting on brown bears, which, by the way, are protected by Romanian law and international law. But they want to remove that protection so that they can cull the bear population, which is not really, I think what everybody had in mind. So it's something to consider as well. And I think that's another one of those many issues. And not only are people being killed by the bears, but they're, just recently, October 2019. This is 3 months ago, everybody. 3 months ago, there was a Romanian forest worker that was murdered because of the battle over logging. And this guy was a forest ranger named Liviu Pop, and he was going in to investigate illegal logging, and he was shot dead. And this is something that happens around the world. Everybody, and this guy worked for the company that may or may not be legit. The forest rangers here, some are on the take, some are not on the take. But this guy was not on the take, and he went to go check illegal logging, and he's now dead, and he has a family that he's left behind. And there's nothing about this that is acceptable, just so that Ikea can have some cheap furniture. This is 100% unacceptable on every level, whether we're talking about the human cost, the environmental cost, or the animal cost. And I think we're all on the same page here. So, hey, Neand, it's nice to see you. Neand's a great friend from long time ago, way back in Maryland where I grew up. Now Chelsea says it's going to happen with our panthers. Oh, yeah. Chelsea, I've been hearing about that, all the panthers that are disappearing in Florida. And that is another amazing species that we are on the brink of losing. And, we're losing species at an alarming rate right now. And it all goes back to this deforestation. So, again, the deforestation in the Amazon leads to the killing of all these different animals. We saw it firsthand. I think if some of you had seen before the monkey poaching camp, that was from the loggers. What they do is they'll go in, they'll take the trees, kill all the animals around, eat them or sell them. And that's it. And then there's nothing left. It's clear cut and it's useless land. There was one part in the Amazon where I was always afraid, oh my gosh, if I go too far in, some animal's going to come after me. I walked for 2 hours in the Amazon. I didn't even see an animal. I didn't even hear an animal. I found one snake, 2-hour walk. And that's not what people think about when they think about the Amazon. And you know what? Romania is facing the same problem. And so is Indonesia. And so is Russia. And so is China. And so is Australia. And these are not isolated problems. Remember, logging is a $16 billion industry. That's not coming out of one, it's not coming out of one forest. So what we need are innovative solutions. And there's a two-pronged approach. One is the marketplace approach. So us as consumers need to hold Ikea accountable. For a long time, there were blood diamonds. Now diamonds have some sort of traceable route. Whether it's legit or not, I don't know too much about. And to be honest with you, diamonds and natural resources, I'm not that interested. I don't think that they should be taken anyway, just me. But, for people that do like those kind of things, they have a way to track if it's a blood diamond or not. So, what people would never think about blood lumber, but it's here and it's true. So first of all, again, we go back to that environmental toll. It's ruining the landscape. It's ruining the land's ability to support people and animals. The animals are starting to starve, and we're either losing them or they're going in, and now we're having more interactions between animals and humans. Then the humans now have food insecurity, and they're losing their nutrients. So, and the few people that can continue to work out logging are not making that great of money. And when illegal logging happens, they're doing it for their bosses, but they're the ones that are taking the hit. They're the ones that are getting arrested. They're the ones that are getting squeezed. So it's, in a lot of ways, it's a continuation of poverty for the sake of multinational profit. So this is why this topic here in Romania is so important and so topical with what's happening. And it's a great example because, again, Ikea is allowed to bid on a parcel of land, and somebody goes out and marks which trees are no longer useful. And then the logger goes in and says, I accidentally bumped into the good trees, and so I took it anyway. And so now all of a sudden, they were going to take 40% of the old dead trees. They've now taken 80% of the good trees, and 10% of the bad trees, and all that's left are dead trees. So they're literally killing our environment. And whether you believe in climate change or not, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, because we're losing trees at an alarming rate, and oxygen is being affected. The ocean is being affected. Every animal on land, every animal in the water is being affected by this particular action. Now, I wanted to show you all a little piece of video of an illegal logging raft that we found down in Peru. Because, again, we were talking about how do we know which trees are okay and which trees are illegal. So it's a very difficult thing. Now, this raft you're going to see, this is how they do it in the Amazon. They just cut trees down, they turn them into a raft, and that raft is then used as the transport for the guys to come out. Now, over here in Romania, they're using trucks and other things, but it's all done without anybody paying attention, because everyone assumes somebody else is paying attention. So it's very problematic in that fashion. And Chelsea makes a great point. Let's make antique solid wood fashion again. Exactly. I love that. Chelsea, that's another thing. And then we talk about the human cost of illegal logging, and we think about the disposable concept of IKEA furniture versus furniture that was made by a craftsman. There's some amazing people out there that know how to work with wood. There's all kinds. I don't know if you guys are too familiar with the original architectures that were done with wood, where there weren't nails and things like that, and it was all craftsmen understanding how to combine wood and connect wood, and they would take one log and turn it into something quite amazing that'll last 100 years. And it's treated with respect. It's treated as a piece of beauty, as something that nature has let us use and borrow. Now it's just simply a chop shop. We're just chop, 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 and boom, here's your $10 IKEA drawer. And but the amount of legacy destruction that's continuing is absolutely insane. Michelle, great point. Go to a thrift store, get creative. I love that. I absolutely agree. We're entering a new period where everybody is starting to think about how can we bring it back. I've seen some great articles recently about Christmas time. Even, do we need new stuff? Do we need more stuff? No, we really don't. There's so much stuff out there. And whether we're talking about plastic or we're talking about, clothes, polyester is plastic. No matter what we're talking about, we're looking at the fact that, things used to be built to last, and they're still around. And we don't really need to keep feeding these companies. And just imagine if we gave more money to a Salvation Army store or a thrift store than we gave to an IKEA store, that would actually make those other stores more powerful, and more people would be able to participate in sharing. And that brings back the human toll as well. Once you get into this situation where IKEA is taking all the logs and it's becoming proprietary, what about the people that can't afford an IKEA drawer? Not everything in IKEA is cheap. I tried to get some stuff and it's like $400, kitchen things. So we're now holding people's ability to live hostage. And that's a whole other issue unto itself that we have to kind of think about. And I know we're all over the map here, everybody, because this is huge, and logging affects us in such a huge variety of ways. Anyway, I'm going to play this quick video. I just wanted to show you guys real quick an example of illegal logging in the Amazon and how they bring the logs in, because I want to remind everybody that, the problem is that between the forest and the sawmill is where all the illegal logging happens. Once it gets in the sawmill, you can't trace your wood back. So once we get there, it's lost. Now, again, Romania has new paperwork where all the logs are supposed to be taken into account. But they have an exception to that. And that exception is if the logs are damaged or they're accidentally destroyed during logging, then they go ahead and they're allowed to actually bring them in. So once again, we have this situation where, and I know I keep saying this, but where there is a supposed legal way to do it that is allowing all the illegal logging to happen while illegally being processed into legal pieces of furniture and legal pieces of wood, but all being done illegally through the loophole. And as we all know, loopholes are kind of the death of the environment anyway, no matter if it's water quality or land or fishing or whatever the topic is, because companies try to steal everything from us. Anyway, just check out this log graph video. It's about 2 minutes long. It'll give you guys an idea of just one of the crazy aspects of what's happening down there. And then after that, we are going to go and talk quickly about Indonesia and Russia and a few of the other places and the ripple effects. And I'd love to hear everybody's ideas on other ways that we can walk away from this need to continually buy, and take, because our world has already given us so much, and we have so much here that we may as well keep using what we have. But check out this log raft. This is when I was shooting some video for Earth Race Conservation, and we happened upon, we'd been tracking illegal logging for about 2 weeks deep into the Amazon, maybe 1,500 kilometers out from any particular thing there. Hey, Michelle, thanks for joining today. And Michelle's down in Florida and is another clean water activist. And Michelle, I don't know if you saw the story, but yeah, I ended up getting some emergency medical care here. And I just wanted to say one more time, I can't say it enough, thank you to all the people that are out there that work in the medical industry, because you know, you guys are the ones on the front line. When I got to Romania the very first day, there was the National Day of Romania. It's their independence, parade. And it was interesting because it's a lot of, tanks and military, and the military is very different here because it was their independence and liberation. They liberated 89, so the 90s was a whole new era, and that's why all this forest has been opened up to illegal logging now. But one thing that amazed me there was during the parade, as soon as the ambulance came in the parade with the paramedics, everybody broke into cheers and applause. And anyway, medical professionals, you guys are very loved around the world and very selfless, and I think very much heroes. And I just wanted to say thanks, because I got amazing care here in a very, very difficult time. So, hey, Desnold's here. Desnold's a really good old friend as well from back home. All right, so I'm gonna check out this log raft. It was crazy, and see what comes in next. I'll be right back.
So they've got several boats. Yeah, they're cooking on one of the boats on the front. Then there's the whole raft of logs with a bunch of stuff. There's 1, 2, 3, at least 3 boats, plus a little wee boat pulled on top of the raft. How many guys have got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 guys by the looks. We saw these loggers the other day, and we've just spotted them taking this big haul of logs downstream. So I think they've set it up as like a big raft. And we know that these logs were taken illegally. So we're going to go and pay these guys a visit. Me and you will hold on to the raft so that we're stopped. Hayley, you can stop the motor, and we'll just go and have a little chat to them. All right, so it won't be long. We should be in and out inside 5 minutes. And let's, as we pull in, smile. I don't want to look aggressive or like we're up for a fight or anything like that. I just want to smile.
But you want to get into his boat?
No, not his boat. Onto the logs. Just onto the logs.
Hola.
Buenas.
Check this out.
Voy a mojar. ¿No? Este está hundido.
How cool is this?
Permiso.
What's the type of wood? The type of tree?
Me repetí el nombre del árbol.
Este es Lupuna.
Yupuna. Oh, there's a guy, there's a guy sleeping here.
A él le tocó manejar de noche.
So when they're going down, they're looking for the caiman, yeah? And if they see one, they spear it?
He said that you can get the caiman with your hand if you are swimming.
Does it damage the canoe to burn the wood and the... No problema?
How long do they work before they are able to put a raft like this together?
3 weeks to collect all this wood and take there, and they come back in 20 days to do the same.
So for 3 weeks they're in the woods working as logger.
15 days and 1 week to go to Rokan.
Ask them what per log, what would the money be?
Dice, ¿por cuánto se vende una pieza de?
Está a 20 céntimos.
20 céntimos. One of these, 20 cents.
20 cents?
They get 20 cents.
20 cents for one
Oh.
of these. For the middle to that.
Back on YouTube now as well. Hey everybody. So that was just an idea of the massive amount of logs that they take down there. Not to mention the fact that they had an endangered black caiman that they were eating for lunch. Because, you know, when they're logging, they're out there and they just kill everything for food. You know, and look, and I'm not here to judge them. A lot of people that log don't get paid that much. You know, the companies do, but the people don't. So we got to go back to that human toll, and we have to remember to not be angry at the people that are out there that are just trying to survive. They're out there. Some of them may or may not know, but you know, there's very rare that the guy with the chainsaw is like, oh boy, I'm illegally logging and I'm going to get away with this and go home and buy a new boat. That's not the deal. If he's lucky, he gets to eat that day, or maybe his family gets to eat. It's the people that run Ikea that are causing the demand, that are causing the deforestation, that are playing the games with the politicians that are funding the enforcement. You know, I mean, it's a really dangerous thing when the polluters are funding the enforcers. And welcome to the US EPA now. I mean, with Andrew Wheeler in charge, but that's a whole other topic. Don't even want to get into that just yet. So again, you know, I wanted to show a video now that everyone is familiar with, and it's really heartbreaking. So much of what we do is heartbreaking, and this is why it's important to always remember that we can make a change, because don't let it get you down. Don't get defeated by it, everybody. You know, we can change it. We are the only thing that have the power to change it. But let's check out this video right now, because this video, you know, is a very popular one. And I'm actually going to if you're watching the video now, this is the video of the orangutan that is in that's over in Asia, that's fighting the bulldozer to maintain his tree. The orangutans are almost extinct, and they just don't care. Now, this video is International Animal Rescue. I took it from YouTube. If you can, please watch it. Hey, Axel, good. Thanks for joining us again. This video is absolutely heartbreaking. You know, you see a lot of these videos. They fight the machines. You know, and we don't want to see this, you know, but these are the kind of animals that are killed. You know, we saw firsthand monkeys killed and eaten by loggers, and then the babies sold into the illegal pet trade. So you've got these guys messing with these orangutans, and they're going to kill them and nothing can get in the way. And here he is trying to fight the bulldozer and protect his land. And excuse me, I get very emotional when I see it, because it's, this is people at their worst. And again, we can't be angry at these guys. These guys are doing their job and they're trying their best. It's not their fault. It's not the poor guy's fault that's out there trying to survive. And this is a very complicated topic. And again, it goes back to the human toll of illegal logging. There's a human toll, and the human toll is the ability for people to survive, to live. It's the human toll is the ability for people to be able to have jobs, to be able to eat. And unfortunately, the human toll, when it becomes very desperate, destroys the environment around them because they don't have a choice. So if you were able to go join me on YouTube and you watch that video, I just really wanted to bring that in because that video is a very important thing to remember. Yeah, I know Michelle says I'll never forget that. And there's quite a few on there. I do have an upcoming project where I'm working with, helping with orangutan out in Indonesia. So, and of course, everybody I'm sure on here already knows, do your best to not buy palm oil. I'm vegan. Everyone says Oreos are vegan. Oreos are filled with palm oil. Don't buy Oreos, please. That's all I have to say about that. I'm sorry. I know there probably seemed like there was more going to come out. Please, 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 please try to be conscious. It's all we can do. If you are lucky enough to have the ability to choose how you live by what you buy at a grocery store, and believe me, that is privilege. Not everybody has that opportunity. A lot of people are fighting to survive. If you have that ability, then it is your responsibility in that store to be a good citizen of the world. And that's just the end of that. It's not your choice to buy things is just not important. I'm sorry. It's promoted to us as some big wonderful thing. We get freedom to buy whatever you want. Listen, we can't do that anymore. We're past that. Like Michelle said, go to the secondhand store, upcycle. Chelsea talked about upcycling. Everything is possible to everything is possible. So please, if you are lucky enough to live through choices in stores, make good choices, because everything you do affects all of us, and it affects that orangutan. And that orangutan in Indonesia is going to die so someone can eat an Oreo in Minnesota. And it makes no sense, but it's what's happening. We're worldwide citizens, everybody. So we have to remember this. So again, Romania, Ikea. Ikea, who would have guessed that Ikea was destroying our climate, our biodiversity, our wealth, our health, our ability to survive, people's quality of life, animals' quality of life, and the environment's quality of life, just for cheap throwaway furniture. It's not okay by any means. And I know that everybody that's here on the show today already knows that. And it's why we like to talk about these types of things. So we're going to start to wrap it up here. It's a very emotional show. It's a very important show because, the problem is, and again, I want to bring this back to the problem is illegal logging is done through legal means illegally. The people that are supposed to guard our world for us are selling it to the people that are destroying it. The loopholes in all the laws in all the countries around the world are where the true danger is. It's what I call the cancer of the body politic, and just like, with cancer, those of us that have cancer know what happens is it continues to eat away and eat away and eat away until, until it weakens the body's ability to perform properly. And the immune system gets shot down. And our world needs an immune system. We need people out there fighting. And not just us activists, not just all of us here on the show, not all of us that are talking, but the people that are out there, the forest rangers that were just killed, the forest ranger that was just killed in October. Did you know being a forest ranger in Africa is one of the most dangerous jobs in the world? I think they have something like a 40 to 60% death rate. People sign up for this because they know that the world is bigger and it's necessity, and we need to be out there. So, remember, that, even in America, in the U.S., eco activists are considered the number one form of domestic terrorism by the U.S. Makes no sense at all. They're worried about us taking video and exposing factory farming and taking people like Direct Action Everywhere, like Priya and Matt, and those people, and hitting them with felony charges while they're letting us companies steal all of our resources. And as we fight for those resources, we're the ones that are being portrayed as the bad guys. How is it even possible that we're considered the top terrorists in the U.S. right now? It makes no sense. But our EPA is now run by a coal lobbyist, so that makes no sense. So cancer of the body politic, the loophole that allows for illegal actions done through legal means for profit, and the toll that it takes on the environment, on the animals, and on everybody that has to survive. And this is the 98% of us that are out there living day to day. We're the ones that we're the ones losing our future to these companies. So anyway, I wanted to get to talk to everybody a little bit today about this. And, it was a really great honor to be here in Romania, to do a live podcast from here, to get to go to talk to Greenpeace. And Greenpeace is trying to come up with new digital solutions to track the trees better, because it has to be out in these remote areas where nobody's looking, because that's where everybody's taking them from. And everything can look good on paper, but as a lot of us know, what looks good on paper doesn't always come true in real life. So, we need to not be fooled by all that. And we have to remember, we always say this, it is our world, and we need to talk about it. We need to do this, and this is great. And an act of rebellion is just to go out, and the next time somebody says, let's go to Ikea, you have to say, did you know that, and let them know, give them an opportunity to make up their own mind. We need a new period of education. And the only way we're going to learn is together, through each other, with each other, together. So I wanted to thank everybody for joining me today. This is episode 17 of the Conservation Conversation. This is live from Romania. This has been an amazing trip. I've learned so much out here. And, again, I'm even going to have more reports once I get back to the States with some of the project parts that I'm working on right now. But please, everybody, remember, if you're lucky enough to have the privilege to choose how you live in a store, be responsible, learn about this, go get on YouTube, find the people that are taking their cameras where things are happening, because they're not lying. And a lot of them, a lot of us are just people that are doing it because we need to. We're not sponsored, we're not paid, and we're not paid to tell the story. And they're out there everywhere, and there's some incredible journalism going on right now. And it's generally just people trying to make a difference so that their future generations have a chance. So thanks for joining, everybody. I'll be back in Los Angeles next week, and we have a couple of amazing episodes coming up. I can't wait. And also mark down on January 11th, we're going to have a very special guest from Reef, REEF, which is a group that does coral restoration and coral projects and coral work all around the world. So, anyway, I just want to thank everybody for being here today, and thank you all for that amazing conversation and everybody jumping in and talking about what's happening. It's really great to be surrounded by so many people that care, and it's a very beautiful thing. So thanks everybody for being here. I can't wait to see you guys next week. Have a great week. And remember, like we always say, it's our world. Let's talk about it.